Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King. And today I'm gonna be giving you part 11 of What If Naruto Was Given Abilities by 4 Devils. Remember to get this one to 200 likes as usual, share this all with your friends in your social media platform, and also guys, go ahead and check out the brand new episode over on Anime King 2. What if Naruto was an emotionless ghost, and enjoyed that guys. And stay tuned for the new episode that I'll be posting over Anime King 3 later on. And remember, if you're new, to go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. And join Anime King 2, Anime King 3. All links will be down in the description for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and click that red subscribe button guys, and thank you for all of your help and support. And I hope you're all having a wonderful day. So yeah, without further ado, what do you say we begin this new episode? Start the intro. So, the last spot we left off, as the preliminaries are finally over and they start to pick their numbers, as Naruto saw that he got Neji, as a wicked grin was on his face, he was going to make him pay for what he did. After a bit of explaining, they were all dismissed as Naruto went towards one of the rooms in the tower to get some sleep, but Uncle had came and lead him away, towards the room that she had in the tower, something both of them had been holding off for the longest time, as the both of them went to a room and got busy. After that was over, Naruto training continued, as Kakashi had came to him, telling him that he had Ebisu to train him. But Naruto was disrespected. Why would you want someone like that to train him, as he completely shrugged it off. The week was rather eventful for Naruto. After one of his training sessions, as he had met up with Haku, and the both of them started to talk. The both of them being alone here, Haku took the opportunity, as the both of them ended up sleeping together as well. As Naruto was given a mission, along with Tenten, Lee, and Uncle. With that, they all made their way at the hotel, as Lee had went out to a party. Uncle was off as well, as Tenten saw this was her perfect opportunity as she went by Naruto's room, as she realized if she didn't do it now, they would probably have no time together later on in the future, as they end up sleeping together in the hotel as well. The group then made their way the next morning towards Deva Island. Arriving there, they thought that Naruto was seriously hurt or probably dead, when a lightning strike came down on him, as they destroyed the entire building. As Reiga was there, one of the 7 ninja swordsmen. They did not notice that when they fight him, the man did not bleed at all. As Naruto was separated, he was fighting one of his great ancestors of the Kazuma clan, as the both of them end up clashing, but the man was powerful. As the man told Naruto a story, after he deemed Naruto worthy. After that was over, Naruto made his way, as he stopped Reiga from fighting. Reiga was already dead. This was just an illusion. It was the same man that Naruto was fighting there. As he told both Naruto and Lee that they will meet again in the future. As Naruto knew the reason why he included him and Lee. It seems like through the Kazuma clan, there was 2 sons. The both of them split. One of them got the eye ability. That is why Lee had the machine gun, and Naruto had the physical enhancement of the body. And the Kazuma clan went off, half of it, and they went down, and they adopted into a new name, called Namikaze. And Lee was a part of the other clan. That is why he grew up as an orphan, seeing that Neven told Naruto that the Kazuma clan members were all gone by now. But Naruto knew with this last name, there would be a lot of difficulties in their futures. Yes, there was a lot to come. So yeah guys, so it's basically that's what left off. You guys can switch across the place and check for yourself. So what do you say begin this new episode? The group had made their way back to Konoha after leaving the Hokage's office after picking up his payment, and for Aoi's head. He made his way towards Ichiraku Ramen as he devoured 20 bowls of ramen before he made his way towards a hot spring to get a good, wonderful soak. His mind continued to go over the things that he learned about his family, and now how Lee and him were now cousins. Not from a direct family, but from a long list of ancestors. and the listing from their clans. Then came his new weapon, the javelin, the staff that Sodiki gave him as a reward for improving his worthiness of being a part of the Namikaze and Kazuma clan. He knew he needed a lot of practice before he can wield that weapon, but he could find a teacher to assist him in that regard. He got out of the hot spring as he was about to leave the era, when his thoughts were interrupted by a giggling. As he turned to look towards the location, what he saw was a large man crouched in front of the wall of the hot spring. And over to the other side of his female section, the man had a notebook in his hand, long spiky white hair, lighter than Naruto owned. He was wearing a red vest, with a grey clothing underneath it, and he had the kanji for oil on a headband on his forehead. It seemed to be a metal plate. He also had his scroll in his back, a rather large scroll. That outfit said Naruto. It looks like Jiraiya. Wonderful legendary tree Sanins. As Naruto made his way over, and just what the hell do you think you're doing? The man did not turn, he just waved his hand. Beat it, whoever you are. Can't you see I'm busy here? As he turned back to peep on the woman. Fine then. I guess Minato Namikaze was right about you. Huh, perfect godfather. As Naruto watched the man twitch, it seems like that got to him. Slowly but surely, he turned. He didn't look like Minato about those eyes. Naruto, is that you? You got that right. But judging from your reaction, seems like the old man hasn't told you about my changes lately, hasn't he? Jiraiya nodded, as Naruto went into a explanation about how he met his ancestors, the meeting of the Kyuubi and his family. Jiraiya's face was filled with surprise, curiosity, and unhappiness. He was surprised to learn that Naruto became so strong over the last year. Surprised to learn that Naruto learned Rasengan, as he was also curious how he learned it. Then came the unhappiness when he learned that his sensei decided to abandon him to teach Uchiha privately. It was obvious this man was playing favorites. After all, he had 2 students in the final. He will have to have a long talk with him. For the first time, Jiraiya decided to not peep on women, as he took Naruto, so they could talk. As Jiraiya was smirking, as Naruto was regaling some of his life towards him, hearing that the boy was going to repopulate his clan. There was even a Chunin involved. He was a chip off the old block, as Minato was a player back then before he met Kushina as well, as he felt proud to learn that his godson already had a little harem for himself. He was further surprised here that it included a Chunin with a rare bloodline, a Jonin that was once the apprentice of his former teammate, and even a priestess, as Naruto went on a mission, and he got to know Shin, and even the daughter of the Hyuga clan head. Jiraiya wanted to cry, tears of joy, as then came the part of training Naruto. He had 3 weeks left until the finals. Even without a sensei, Naruto could still win his fights when the Chunin exam finally rolled up. But Jiraiya was still gonna help him. Alright kid, don't worry about your training. I'll be helping you myself. Seeing that you know the Rasengan, I don't suppose you know your father version of the body flicker technique. Naruto shook his head no. Well then, I'll be teaching you that and many more over this break. You just relax. There's a chat I need to have with the old man. And with that, Jiraiya was gone, as Naruto seemed to relax in the hot springs. Once again, things were getting shaken up. Elsewhere, Tenten panted hard as Anko was standing there, as she has been training herself to fight off against Temari. As her weapons would not work against Temari Wind, she would need to utilize her own elements. To Anko shot the girl hell, fire, and earth. Anko could do both elements, so that means she now had a new apprentice. She could teach this girl everything she knew, and even learn something from her. Right now she had her go back to the basics, tree walking and water walking, but she had to control a leaf on her forehead as well, and some push-ups, sit-ups. Tenten didn't mind the training, it was indeed making her feel stronger. It was then that she learned about the mark that was on her neck. Also Anko had one as well. They were identical as it was a fox, but the color and background design were different. Tenten knew she never gotten a tattoo in her life, but it seemed to have been there for a while. In fact, she was sure this mark came after she did it with Naruto. For Anko, it was pure shock, because the mark on her neck, the curse mark that Orochimaru gave her so long ago, was not there. Instead, it was this mark. She never had this recently. Well, right after doing that with Naruto, was it then that it came? Then came that power overload when she was on Devil Island, and it had a familiar feeling like she knew this power already. She needed to learn how to control it, and the key seemed to be this mark. She would ask Naruto about it later, but for right now she had a student to train. Elsewhere, Hayashi stood there as he watched his daughter step in front of him. She was breathing heavily as he were in the Hyuga dojo. She has been working very hard over the past week as she remained in a Hyugan stance, sweat covering her body. Hayashi himself wasn't tired at all, as he considered this light training, consider what he went through to become clan head. He was so happy to see that she has grown stronger over the past 6 months as she came out of the shell that she placed herself in. Her shyness was seeping away quickly, and she was proud to call herself a Hyuga. They had been sparring like this for 15 minutes now, and he kept on upping the stakes, increasing his speed to increase her growth. He knew he used to say this soon, but he was truly proud of her improvement. She held natural grace and flexibility to dodge moves that would be difficult to block. He was also teaching her to release the chakra in her body, to use the rotation properly. She was doing fine, but with more work she'll be able to do it perfectly. Great job today, Hinata. You've grown very well over time spent training. However, I'm afraid you can't learn the standard form of Hyugan style. As you know, the Hyugan style needs someone to be firm, steady like a rock, unmoving. But you are more like water, your moves are fluid and flexible. As such, I think it's time I train you in a style that your mother specialized in. Hinata's eyes widened at that. So what we shall do for the next 3 weeks is train you, increasing your speed and your chakra control. Once you have the levels needed, you shall begin to learn the style of your mother. Hinata nodded, a smile on her face. She will now become stronger, and this style will help her become closer to her mother. Time skip. 3 weeks later, Naruto was sitting at the edge of his bed as he woke up early. Today was the finals of Chunin exams, as his face was dead serious. He was going to fight Neji and show him why you don't mess with the devil. He was broken from his thoughts when he felt a pair of hands wrapped around his neck and a kiss on his cheek. As he looked to his left, Asako was there, with a smile on her face. She came into his room last night to, wish him luck for tomorrow, but it ended up escalating. What's the matter, Naruto-kun? Why do you seem so gloomy? She asked. As Naruto sighed, she rubbed his back. It's because I couldn't protect Hinata in the preliminaries, and I am now facing the person that nearly killed her. I don't know what I'm gonna do, because if I kill him, I'm gonna be hurting her for killing her cousin. But if I do nothing then, I'll be letting that bastard think he can get away with it. Naruto-kun, that was not your fault. You have to remember that clan held a large animosity in itself, and that fight you saw proved it. Neji only felt was the only option he thought he could do, and sadly Hinata was the only target in his eyes. But what you can do is make sure he will never have that thought again, and to make him know he did not get away with it. Time skip. Village Stadium. The stadium was packed. People there to watch the finals of the exam. The final was so big, they closed down shops and stores just to watch the fight, seeing that most of the competitors was from the representative village. This also proved that they were still the strongest in the village, with the Hyuga prodigy and Konoha shining star Uchiha Sasuke. Many bets were placed, with Sasuke winning the entire competition. People were underestimating Naruto. They thought he was a dead last. And not to mention he was facing off against the Hyuga. He wouldn't win. Well, many people that know Naruto knew better, as Anko, Kurenai and Guy, Jiraiya and Asuma. As some of them had saw Naruto fight in preliminaries, they saw the brutality he showed and the strength as well. The Uchiha got the win off the skin of his teeth, and Naruto got the win by just fighting. As Kurenai sat with Anko, as Anko was wearing a different set of clothing, to Kurenai's surprise. A tan long sleeve button shirt with only 2 buttons clipped, so it could show her cleavage and her stomach. As she was wearing a brown pair of gloves, her skirt was replaced with tan pants that stopped at the upper half of her thighs, with brown boots on her feet. As her headband was tied around her right thigh, as her hair was down to her neck, as she wore a pair of tan sunglasses, she basically turned a look from the town slut to the mature hottie on the corner. Kurenai was surprised by the new look and the strange mark on her neck as well. When Kurenai asked, Anko told her she got a new boyfriend. As Kurenai asked who it was, she simply told her Naruto. That amazed her greatly, consider his age, as Anko told that the boy was, not childish like the others, when he wants to be, and it was fun. But he was a serious person, and he was mature for his age. Kurenai didn't let it go, which caused Anko to get a bit angry, as she kept on talking about it. So she told her if she stopped being the ice queen of Konoha, she would probably find someone better than Asuma, who cheated on her when they first started dating. As Kurenai was about to argue with her on that, but She started to think about it. When she first started dating Asuma, he ended up cheating. He said that it was a mistake and that it will never happen again. But she shut him down. And that is how she became the Ice Queen of Konoha, turning down everyone that came to ask her out. Maybe it was probably time to try something different. Who knows? Hinata was wearing her new look as well. She was wearing skin-tight black shorts that stopped above her knees with bandage tied around her legs and black ninja sandals. Her top was a tight, long-sleeved turtleneck. Her headband was being worn around her waist like a belt, the purple strap being replaced with the blue one. Everyone was surprised by her new change, which prompted Ino and Sakura to ask, but the girl simply gave them the cold shoulder. Apparently, she picked up a new attitude as well from her daddy and Naruto. Haku arrived as well with a new look that brought all eyes on her. Dark blue pants that led to the middle of her thigh, with shinobi sandals of the same color. Her top was sleeveless and had a fishnet shirt underneath, as her stomach was exposed. As her hands were covered in dark blue gloves, fingerless gloves. Headband was tied around her waist with a dark blue cloth attached to the metal. Her hair was tied in a ponytail, with a few strands going on her face. As she sat beside Hinata, most of them were confused by that, seeing that they never saw them talk before. So, Haku-chan, where's Naruto-kun? I thought you'd get here first, Hinata said. He said you want to make a cool entrance. To meet Neji pissed his pants. As Haku giggled, making Hinata giggle as well. Really? I always thought you just come in with that aloof that you normally give people, Hinata said. You and I both know that Naruto-kun doesn't act aloof, even when he wakes up. Hinata nodded as she understood. Excuse me, but who are you? And how do you know Naruto? Asked Ino, getting everyone's attention. My name is Momokai Haku, and I'm Naruto's roommate, as well as his girlfriend. As she got a shocked reaction from those that had no idea. Wait, since when did Naruto have a girlfriend? And how long have you been living with him? Sakura asked, as she always believed that Naruto's incapable of having a girlfriend, and she sounded a bit jealous. She's been living with him ever since you guys got back from your C-rank mission, and she's not Naruto's girlfriend alone, she's one of his. Hinata said. Both girls blinked as they wondered if they were hearing her right. What do you mean by one of his girlfriend? Asked Ino. Hinata and Haku looked at each other. Both of them shrugged. It was bound to come out anyway. What I mean is, he has more than one girlfriend, with me also being one, said Hinata. Wait, what? Kiba shouted. Before any more questions could be asked, Sarutobi made his speech. After making his speech, he had a seat. He was narrowing his eyes. Kakashi had yet to show up with the Uchiha, and his match was right after the first one. He should have known that Kakashi would do this, knowing that Sasuke would probably not get disqualified, seeing that he was the last Uchiha here, and the crowd would be, well, pretty ticked off as many of them had bet on Sasuke. Hokage-sama, there is still no sign of Kakashi and the Uchiha. Sarutobi scowled at that. Damn it, Kakashi. We currently have a squad of Anbu Black Ops searching for the boy. Do you believe that Orochimaru captured him already? One of the Jonin said, with Sarutobi shaking his head, as the Kazekage then walked in with his guards. Sarutobi narrowed his eyes, as he felt a rather ominous feeling from the Kazekage. Kazekage-dono, good to see you arrived safely from your trip, he said, putting a smile on his face. Well, it was better anyways. A trip from here to the Hidden Sand or to any of the other nations might be a bit too long. You're getting up there in your age, Hokage-dono. Perhaps it's time for you to rest and have someone take the seat as a fifth. Please, don't treat me like I'm old. I may be past my prime, but the fire in me still burns as strong as it did when I was in my prime. The Kazekage sat down in his seat. It appears that two of the competitors are missing, and they seem to be of your own village. As he looked down towards the floor. Yes, it appears that young Sasuke has not arrived yet to the exam. As for the other one, Naruto Sparda, I know where he is. He's just preparing for a big entrance. But why give the boy an excuse and let the Uchiha stand in the flames? Many of the lords came to see the famous Uchiha fight in the exam. In fact, the betting pools are the boy win the entire exam and get into the next level in the shinobi world. I am aware of this, though I had no idea that you were a betting man. Of course I am. I'm betting that my son Gaara will take the entire tournament by storm. Very well then. I suppose my own choice in Naruto will match yours. When it comes to your son, I suppose the boy should be allowed to fight for the sake of the crowd. But being late like this, he will not be promoted. His sensei might like to play favorite, but not I. He got up from his seat once again, as he made another speech. As clapping and cheers could be heard, as the exam was about to begin. Jiraiya then flashed into the booth. The Kazekage eyes narrowed for just the slightest, as he quickly returned back normal. Down below, Okay everyone, these are the fights for the exams, said Genma, as he looked at the Genins. This is a 3-round tournament, seeing that we're pressed for time. Hold on, said Shikamaru, as Genma turned towards him. The Uchiha and the white hair boy hasn't got here yet. We need to wait for them. I'm afraid we can't wait anymore. I'm allowed to give Naruto a 5-minute extension and give the Uchiha the same by the time his match come around. But we're gonna be beginning now. So all of you please go to the stands except for Neji, while we wait for Naruto to arrive. Neji smirked, a rather arrogant smirk, as he watched them all leave. Looks like the dope is all talk but no play. I should have known. He was then hit, as he turned to look at Tenten. Don't talk about Naruto-kun like that. He will be here. As she headed towards the fighter ring. Meanwhile, Neji still smirked, as it doesn't matter if he came. Fate was on his side, and he would not lose no matter what. You should just call the match already. The idiot is not coming, said Neji. And who told you that? A voice said that ring all through the stadium. A small amount of smoke started to build up around the stadium wall. The sky then started darkening, given that the sky was just bright a moment ago, with little to no clouds. The place becoming darkened so quick surprised everyone, as a bolt of lightning raced down and slammed where the smoke was, creating a wildfire. The fire then grew and grew, until it was the size of a gate. Everyone watched as they saw a hooded figure walking out of it, with a staff with flame on it, as more figures came out, as they lined up in a row, creating a path in the center, until he stepped out. Naruto stepped out with the rebellion and Yamato in his hand, with a strange ghost-like figure behind him with red eyes, with his 2 clones, one in the light and one in the dark form, as he was wearing a new style of clothing once again. Black Anvu boots, black pants, and a mesh shirt with a vest over it, as he had on the holster for his guns, Angel and Reaper, strapped around his waist. But they were looking at his right shoulder, what was on it? A large black belt with a fox head as a centerpiece, with claws on the side, with 10 red orbs going down the belt. People didn't understand the purpose of the belt. It seemed to be some kind of statement, but they didn't understand what statement it was. But most weren't as stupid as the ones questioning it, as they knew what this meant. It was Naruto's way of saying that he was the best. To get to the top, you have to get past him to get there. Those that understand that were smirking. This kid had some real balls to, well, say that. As Naruto continued on with the belts as he raced in the air, with the clones behind him, as the clones behind him exploded, except for the 2 walking behind him. He then placed the belt back on his shoulder and stared at Neji. What's that supposed to be, Neji said as he looked towards the belt. That I'm gonna win the whole thing, but not before I get some payback. As he tossed the belt in the air, as he stabbed Rebellion into the ground, as he tossed Yamato to the clone on the left, before he flipped and landed right on his sword. He then raised his hand as he watched the belt transform into a blade. Jumping and taunting it, Naruto landed on his feet perfectly before flicking his feet, knocking Rebellion out of the ground. The second clone caught it and placed on his shoulder. Naruto did a few swings with the sword before placing it on his back. People were shocked that it was just staying there. There was nothing holding on to it. Neji activated his Byakugan to see how Naruto was doing that, or to examine it for any weaknesses if he used it in the fight. How are you doing that, said Neji. It's just sticking to you. Because when you possess weapons like these, they form a bond that is magnetic. In fact, that bond is so strong they stay with your master to see what the future will bring for him. He looked towards the proctor, as the proctor turned towards the crowd. The crowd was, well, ecstatic, given this show that the boy just put on. This should be an entertaining fight. Well, most of them thought that he was going to lose and get his ass handed to him. Very well then, the first fight between Naruto Sparda and Neji Hyuga. Begin! Neji lowered himself into his Byakugan stance, his eyes activated. As Naruto closed his eyes, as Naruto stood perfectly still. In a second, he pulled his hand up and tossed a kunai towards Neji. Neji moved to the left to dodge a kunai as a smirk came on Naruto's face. The ground break open beside Neji as Naruto burst out, with a fist aimed towards Neji's face. Neji dodged and struck him in the chest, but he poofed away, it was a clone. As Neji turned to see the real Naruto leap towards him, with a spinning kick which he blocked with his forearm. As Naruto brought his foot up and brought it down, which Neji blocked with his other arm. Naruto flipped his body and brought it down, with his fist caught back. Neji blocked Naruto's fist and sent a palm thrust towards Naruto's chest. Naruto moved to the side and grabbed Neji's arm and flipped over, throwing Neji over his shoulder. as Neji flipped as a kunai was coming towards him once again. But Neji blocked it with a furious palm strike. As Naruto landed on his feet, he went over where the first kunai landed and picked it up. I'm afraid this fight is pointless. You can't beat me, Naruto said. Shocking many in the stands, Neji himself was livid that the first year genin and the dead last of his class would talk to him like that. He was a member of the Hyuga clan, the strongest clan within the village, and one of the highest potential members as well, with so much potential to just grow in time. This kid wasn't going to get under your skin so easily. He closed his eyes and calmed himself down before he spoke. If you believe you shall win, you're a fool. Fate has already declared me being the winner, so it doesn't matter what you do, it's hopeless. Naruto scoffed at that. Fate doesn't exist. Only cowards and weaklings think so. They're the only people that assume that a thing like that exists. Well, you're in those categories, said Naruto. After all, trying to destroy your own blood. Trying to kill them when they no longer desire to fight. Sure, you're a coward and just a weakling. Neji had enough. He was going to end this as he shot forward with brilliant speed that his body could muster. Neji struck towards him and Naruto simply stepped aside. With a sigh, as Neji sent multiple strikes towards Naruto's face and chest. But Naruto simply dodged and weaved out of all of the attacks. No matter how fast he was going, none of his strikes were getting through. None of them were even touching Naruto. As Naruto jumped back, you know Neji, if you continue to fight like this, you'll only hurt yourself. I mean, don't tell me this is the best, the great Hyuga prodigy can do. Naruto said that smirk, up in his stance. Most people watching the match was shocked. They thought that the Uzumaki was really crazy, rushing at the Hyuga head on. The older shinobis who heard of the Uzumaki's skill in the past were impressed to see him standing up to Neji. Even Hayashi was surprised at the turn of events. He couldn't believe it took that little effort to let Neji lose his temper and go wild. And the angrier Neji became, the sloppier his move became. He had to give Naruto some credit. The boy had done his homework. Even still, he was still surprised by how he was taunting Neji. But then again, considering the extent of Hinata injuries, if it wasn't for Naruto, he shouldn't be. He shook himself from the thoughts as he focused back on the fight down below. Back down the arena, Naruto was bored as Neji was panting, trying to regain his breath. Neji scowled as he saw that bored look on his opponent's face, as he really wanted to wipe it off. As he rushed forward once again and struck towards Naruto's chest, only for Naruto to roll to the side and push Neji in the back, making Neji trip over. As he face planted into the dirt, Neji picked himself up and wiped the dirt off his face. As he came towards Naruto again, Naruto dodged, this time slamming his fist into Neji's jaw. As he turned his hand and slammed it into Neji's gut, Neji coughed and wheezed. As Naruto backhanded Neji away, Neji took a few steps back as he cleared his head that was spinning at the moment. He looked to see Naruto give him a disappointed look and shaking his head. Neji took in several deep breaths as he wiped the blood away from his mouth and his nose. He calmed himself as Naruto placed his hands in his pockets. I guess I should get a bit serious, said Naruto. This is getting rather boring. Dark Fire Release, Grand Fire Jutsu, as he took in a deep breath before breathing out a massive stream of flame. Neji dodged to the side, but the moment he did, Naruto appeared in front of him and smashed a fist into his gut, causing him to wheeze up once again. He looked up, but this time he brought his hands up and blocked the kick that Naruto drove towards his head, as Neji moved himself back the slightest, before spinning, rotation, as the swirling dome of chakra slammed into Naruto, pushing him back the slightest. When Neji stopped his spin, he was surprised Naruto was still standing there, instead of being sealed away by the force. As Naruto simply smirked, Neji shot forward, wasting no time, as he was about to strike Naruto in his neck with his two fingers that were laced with a large amount of chakra. Naruto slapped the hand away before slamming his face into Neji's gut. Neji didn't let that stop him as he moved forward to stab Naruto right in the heart with his palm extended. Naruto bent himself straight back as his palm touched ground as Neji was looking down straight at him. Neji didn't have the momentum to move as Naruto brought up his heel, smashing it right into Neji's stomach, kicking him away. Neji flipped and spin before landing to his feet, coughing and wheezing once again as he dropped to one knee. He wiped away some blood that leaked from his mouth as he slowly got to his feet. He wasn't going to lose, not here. Fate already decided that he will be the winner. Well, Neji, this is getting really boring, said Naruto. Can't you see you're still not gonna win? You loser. A first year genin, dead last of his class. What the hell make you think that? How could you ever expect to defy fate that has already been determined? Because like I said, I'm gonna beat you and avenge something I could have stopped. You're nothing but a smug coward who blamed his problems on others and live in the past. And what exactly do you know? Do you know what I went through? As Neji removed his headband, showing his seal on his forehead, he then went into an explanation about how the Hyuga clan was fated to be separated into two houses in a kidnapping his father's death because he was switched at the last moment. When he finished his rant, Naruto was still looking at him rather bored. Am I supposed to care? When you complain about living in a clan home with people and family that at least care about you, being trained under their arts, and the one person who you're supposed to serve decide to be easy on you because she's just that wonderful. You just helped prove my earlier thought of you, a pathetic little daddy's boy. If you want sympathy from me, give me something I'll actually care about. Neji's face turned to a scowl. This match was over as he lowered himself. 8 divination strikes. 64 palms, he said. He launched himself at Naruto. 2 palms, but he missed. 4 palms, but the same outcome happened. 8 palms. Dodge again. 16 palms. Even with more speed, Naruto was still dodging. 32 palms, Neji said furiously, but Naruto dodged. 64 palms, but Naruto simply vanished from his position. When Neji finished, Naruto was behind him with a smirk on his face. Still think I'm weak? Neji's eyes went wide in disbelief. He was not the only one, as the Hyuga members and the Kages were staring at Naruto with complete shock. Most Envoy level ninjas couldn't stop that technique, doesn't matter how fast they were. As Naruto opened his eyes, he saw that Naruto was taking in breaths through his nose. It took a lot of power to maintain a certain amount of speed to dodge in that close range. The technique was referred to as the unbeatable technique, but that boy just defeated it like it was nothing. How? Said Neji, as he still couldn't believe it. It's quite simple. I use the same method of expanding my chakra on my body like a shield, and use that to help me dodge while you send your strikes. But as you increase your speed, I had to do the same, said Naruto. But I guess I should end this now, said Naruto. I guess I should try this new move of mine. Blood Wave Strike. A red chakra exploded from Naruto's body, slamming into Neji. Neji was sent sailing across the arena like a rag doll. His body impacted with the wall as he coughed violently before dropping, his face slamming into the earth. As Naruto made his way over, this is not possible. I was Rookie of the Year, the best in my class. How are you standing and I'm lying here, said Neji. How can you do that? How can you defy fate? You know, you're right, said Naruto. At the academy, I fail. Yes, I failed multiple times. People always presume that I'm weaker, and I was. Everyone was stronger than me. And instead of getting any help, I was just laughed at for being the weakling. You're talking about fate. On that night, my sensei decided to change my future because the only thing fate carries is bullshit, said Naruto. We can choose and pick our own fate. He tricked me. Being the naive person I was back then, I end up stealing a scroll to learn the advanced jutsu so I can become Jenny level and more advanced. But I learned something on that day which I used to beat the living crap out of him. And from then my eyes opened. Things were different. I learned, I grew. It took 12 months. 12 months for me to reach this point. Not including the 12 years of me being completely, utterly worthless. But do you want to know why I failed so many times? Naruto created 4 clones. That's right, the clone jutsu. I didn't have enough control over my chakra to master it. And instead of helping me, the teachers, well, they saw me as a nuisance. So I had no idea what to do, so I ended up failing. So instead of whining and bitching about it like you, I decided to train, work my ass off. And this is what happened. This is a result of my training, not any fate bullshit. But unlike me, you have a family that cares about you, said Naruto. A cousin that was willing to go as far as to fight you with all that she's got to prove you that you're wrong. But I'll make you a promise right here, Neji, said Naruto. If you ever harm or hurt Hinata in any way possible ever again, you don't have to worry about fate anymore. It would no longer matter to you, because if you believe in fate, when you're dead, does fate help you? Naruto asks. As Naruto moved away from Neji, the proctor jumped down. Neji was unable to stand. Winner, Naruto Sparda! The crowd erupted into cheers. Some of them booing because they lost a great amount of money betting on Neji. But the ones that won on Naruto, that took a chance, were celebrating big. The judges smiled to themselves as they watched. Yes, they agree. Both of them deserve the level of Chunin. Possibly, if the Hokage thought about it, that White Year 1 even deserve a Chunin level. Meanwhile, the Kage's boot. To think that the boy that was referred to as dead last was able to fight and defeat the rookie of last year with so ease, and defeat and dodge the Haiga main clan technique that you're so famous for. It seems like your choice was really good. Sarutobi nodded as the Kazekage narrowed his eyes. He's becoming too strong. I'll have to take him out so I can succeed in my plans. Back into the arena. The second match, Sasuke Uchiha versus Kankuro. Please step up. Oh no, I can't reveal my puppet mechanism. Even if I win the fight by forfeit, I would have to show my fighting style next battle. And I need to save for the invasion, Kankuro thought. Proctor, I forfeit my match to Uchiha. Even though he's not here, let him move to the second round. Kankuro said to everyone booing that decision. As Naruto narrowed his eyes, something was wrong. This guy is up to something. To give up that match like that. Very well. The winner of the second match by forfeit, Sasuke Uchiha. Now for the third match, Rock Lee vs Gaara. Gaara disappeared in an explosion of sand and reappeared in the arena. Lee flipped over the railing and landed right in the arena, right on his feet. As he removed his sunglasses to show his machine gun. There's no way that guy can win against Gaara, no matter what kind of moves he had, said Kankuro. Naruto scoffed. You just watch and see, he said. The third fight, Gaara of the Desert vs Rock Lee. Begin! The sand popped off Gaara's gort and flew towards Lee, only for Lee to catch it mid-air. He threw it to the side. As Gaara narrowed his eyes, Lee then went into a fighting stance. Before the ground shifted, Lee blurred away. Leaf Hurricane, he says, he appeared mid-air, bringing his leg down towards Gaara. The kick was blocked by a sand shield though. Lee twists and sent multiple punch and kicks, but they were all blocked by the sand shield. Lee flipped back and pulled a kunai. As the sand came towards him, he sliced through it. As he flipped and threw 3 shurikens towards Gaara, all of them were blocked by the sand shield. As a hand appeared from the sand, revealing that it was a sand clone. As it held onto the shurikens, the clone raised his right arm and sent a blast of sand towards Lee, who dodged it. His speed is impressive with that sand. Well, it appears. I need to be a bit faster, said Lee. He removed his weights and tossed it over to the side. They dropped with a loud thud. Lee then blurred out of sight. Gaara narrowed his eyes around, his hand would protect him no matter what. He was cut off as Lee's fist slammed into his jaw, snapping Gaara's head to the side. As Lee blurred away again, Gaara was assaulted by multiple kicks and punches all around his body. Lee appeared mid-air and drop-kicked Gaara. No way, he can move that fast by just removing a little weight, Shikamaru said, as everyone agreed with that statement as they were watching. Deep in the stands, Kin cheered her man on, with all of her love coming out in the open. Lee was in front of Gaara once again, as his fist was firmly in the sand that finally caught him. The sand turned to a hand and started twirling around, but Lee twisted his body, breaking free from the sand as he landed on his feet. Gaara felt something run down his cheek as he touched it. Looking at his hand, it was blood. His eyes went wide. Lee simply vanished once again, not wasting time. Gaara had barely enough time to look. His hand wasn't fast enough as Lee's fist connected in his stomach. Gaara was picked off the ground by the momentum as he was tossed back violently. But the gourd burst down into sand and gave Gaara a comfy landing, minimizing the damage. Gaara got up as Lee saw insane look in the boy's eyes as he went through quick hand signs. Sand release, desert wave jutsu. The sand created a massive tidal wave that came towards Lee, but with his speed the sand was unable to touch him as he dashed around the arena quickly. Lee then started running around Gaara, picking up dust as he ran, circling Gaara. Hurry up and come so I can end this, Gaara said, his voice sounding quite on the edge of exploding, as Lee shot forward and appeared beneath him. The bandages on Lee's hands were loosened as Lee kicked him right in the ear. He appeared behind Gaara in mid-air as the bandage dropped around his stomach and his entire torso. Lee grabbed him and started to spin him straight down head first. Primary Lewis! Lee released him just in time as Gaara's body crashed in the ground, creating a sizable crater as Lee flipped and landed on his feet. Before he dropped on his butt, that still took a lot out of him as he watched. Gaara's body cracked to sand. Nothing was inside. A dark chuckle could be heard. Before Lee knew it, he was grabbed by sand as real Gaara emerged behind him. As the sand brutally slammed Lee in the wall. As Sakura was watching, she remembered Lee coming to her aid in the forest. Lee-kun, as she not even realized she added a suffix to his name. Seeing that he wasn't being mercilessly slammed into the wall, she looked towards Guy who was smiling, as suddenly broke away from the sand. As Kin smiled, Lee flipped away from another volley of sand as he landed on his feet. "You're finished. You might as well give up and let Mother feast on your blood," said Gaara. "The sand will devour you." As Lee, machine gun started to spin. "Well, this will end right now," said Lee, with his next move. He brought his hand up like an X. Life gate. Release. Wound gate. Release. Lee hunched over as veins started to pop up all over his face. Blood even started to leak from his nose. His hair started to stand up tall as his eyes turned full red. He then looked up towards Gaara. The ground exploded as he was gone. The force of Lee pushing off the ground literally tore it to shreds. It was a half of a second. Anyone that blinked in his seat. As Gaara was in mid-air, a powerful punch under his jaw had knocked him and sent him sailing. As Gaara was flying in the air, reappeared. Several punches smashed into Gaara, knocking him further up. Gaara's sight started to fail him as he was being tossed around like a ragdoll. Lee disappearing and reappearing. As Lee pulled his fist back right in front of Gaara. "This is it, it's over! Limit gate, release!" "I can't protect myself. My sand isn't fast enough." "How is he so fast?" Gaara thought. All the air in his lungs left him as Lee's fist smashed into his gut. The entire air rippled for a second. As Gaara was sent sailing, he was yapped back up, his neck getting whiplash as it was pulled so violently. As Lee had his sash wrapped around Gaara's stomach. As Lee brought his palm and fist down. "He'd notice," he said, striking Gaara in the chest. Gaara's body was sent like a missile as it hit the ground, a colossal boom. Lee felt the pain exploding within his arms and his legs. Gaara's sand had pulled together to protect him from the high fall. "Damn it," Lee cursed as he was back to normal. "I had him." The sand under Lee wrapped around Lee's arm, making Lee wince in pain as Gaara was about to close his fist. As Naruto used his blood wave technique, the sand was blown off Lee's arm. As Naruto landed in the arena, "Proctor, he can't continue with the way his arm is shattered. End the match," said Naruto. The Proctor looked at Naruto and looked at Lee. As Lee was in pain, that arm of his had took serious damage. The Proctor called the match as Naruto created 2 clones. Gaara slowly picked himself from the ground. "Why did you save him?" "I could have proven my existence. Because he's my family. My only family. I wouldn't let you get away with something like that," said Naruto. Gaara picked himself up as he was declared the winner, as he started to gather sand before leaving. It took 15 minutes as everything was fixed up down the arena, as Temari was to face off against Shikamaru. Naruto ended up knocking Shikamaru off as the boy landed down there. He really didn't see the point as he cursed Naruto. Everyone wanted to see the Uchiha fight in the way. "What's the point of him fighting down here? Are you gonna do anything?" asked Temari. "What's the point?" he said. "Fine then, I guess I have to come to you." She launched herself towards him with her fan as she brought it in like a hammer, which caused a rippled out crater. But Shikamaru was leaning up against the wall as he had pinned 2 kunais there. "You know, the last thing I want to do is fight a girl, because to me that's unmanly. Plus the fact I care less if I combat Chunin or not. But I refuse to lose to a girl, so guess I'll have to fight," he said. After all, a guy shouldn't lose to a girl in front of a crowd. Temari's eyebrow twitched as she opened her fan and sent a blast of air towards him. Only to hit nothing. He is good at running. She glanced up as she saw Naruto. A smirk came to her face. Why not have some fun, she thought. "Hey you, cute with the tattoos," she said, catching Naruto's attention. "How about we make a bet?" "I'm listening," said Naruto. "If I win against your friend, you gotta take me out on a date." What do I get if Shikamaru wins? Said Naruto. She responded like it was the most simplest thing in the world. My body. If he wins, you can get me for a night. And trust me, I'm far better than that panda girl beside you. Tintin was pissed at that. Deal, said Naruto. What? Said Tintin. But, Naruto-kun, why would you agree to stakes like that willingly? As she was really shocked that the girl would suggest that kind of thing with her man. Well, not technically hers alone, but yeah. Because Shikamaru is not gonna beat Victor, trust me. As Tintin nodded, and 4 hours later, the match was over. Temari had won because Shikamaru gave up. The judges saw the strategic plan that the boy used, and they were considering him for a promotion. As Shino ended up giving up against Tintin. Shino didn't want to fight a girl due to his bug technique sapping all her chakra, and he wasn't cool with that. With that, it was now the second round. Naruto versus Sasuke, making his way down. Sasuke Uchiha has not arrived yet. He will be given 5 minutes to arrive, said Genma, as the crowd was eagerly waiting for the Uchiha to arrive, some of them eager to see Naruto fight once again. But Naruto had a different feel on this matter entirely. That closet homo was given favoritism again, due to him being a Uchiha. If he was anyone else, they would have been disqualified, without a moment notice. Yet, because of his last name, he was once more given leniency on the rules, and it pissed Naruto off. If he make it on time, Naruto was going to make sure to put him in his place, just to make him understand that him being a Uchiha meant nothing at all. But guys, be any subscribe right here. For things part, if you know to do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification stay posted. Remember, share to all of your friends in your social media platform, and go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto Was an Emotionless Ghost over on Anime King 2. And stay in tune for a new episode over on Anime King 3, guys. And I do hope that you guys enjoy. Remember, if you're new, to go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. Anime King 2, Anime King 3, and Anime King, guys. And turn on the bell notification, stay posted, and yeah, without further ado, I'm out for now. See you guys very soon over Anime King 3. Peace.